I decided to do a quick little crochet project. Now, if you follow me on Twitch, you know that I'm making a new little baby shark. And this bow is going to be for that new little baby shark because she's going to be a bit girly. So here I am working on that initial chain and that first row, which is always the hardest for me. But today it's especially hard because I have a tremor that gets worse with certain medications and it's a tough day. It's also the reason why I make weird mouth movements during some of my streams. That's a side effect as well. So this is a little pink bow that's going to go on the head, and I'm using a pattern, but in reality, it's just a rectangle that you're squishing down. So I really didn't need a pattern, but I figured to have one in the background just in case. So for this, I am using a Yarn Inspirations Basics in the color of bubblegum and a 9mm crochet hook because that's all I had at work that day. Ordinarily, I probably would have used a smaller size. There are a couple of gaps that are kind of big, but at the end of the day, this is for my classroom, not for sale. So I'm working on that third row, getting into the mood of it, and making sure that I'm keeping my ears open for my students that might be returning soon. They're off at their lunch, but sometimes they come and visit just to say hi. The next row is done and getting on as we move forward. At this point in the pattern, I can start hearing students in the hallways. So I'm kind of thinking to myself, are my kids coming or is that a different class? And I can actually hear it's the first grade class. And I don't work with them, but I recognize some of the voices. And there was a funny little conversation where the teacher said something like, oh, don't zipper it, it's going to break. And a student said, well, how do you know it will break? And another student came up and said, she's a teacher. She knows everything. So at some point, you're going to see me laughing and nodding my head in agreement. So we're still going on this rectangle, and we are up to row 7, just showing off the gear today. And the inevitable is going to happen soon is I am going to forget what row I'm on. I tend to write down all the time when I'm on rows, but I didn't today because I wanted to just get it done quickly. I only have a 25-minute lunch break. Yep, I forgot. I only have a 25-minute lunch break, so I wanted to get it finished. So I think I decided I'm going to do one more row, and then I'll do the outside, and then we'll start building it. I'm keeping an eye on that clock too, just to make sure that if somebody comes in and wonders what I'm doing, I can say, I'm on my lunch break doing crochet. So I'm kind of doing a quick measure using the baby shark that I do have in my classroom to see if it's kind of proportioned correctly. And yeah, I think that works. So I'm going to do that outside stitch just to kind of neaten everything up. And this whole thing is just super basic single crochets. It's literally a rectangle that's 9 stitches across, and I think it actually ended up on 8 stitches tall. But I could be wrong. So here I am, I'm working around the corners and around the circles, and I realized, oh, I didn't do 2 stitches in one corner. So I had to frog back a little bit. Wasn't too disastrous, but something to keep in mind. And then I have to remind myself once I get to the next corner, yep, you still need to do 2 in that corner as well. This is where I hear the conversation with the first grade students, and they are so adorable at times. Just getting around that last bend. Now, all in all, this project took me about 20 minutes of my 25-minute lunch, and I was lucky enough that I had my crochet stuff with me. This is actually the hook that I use in my after-school crochet club with students. It's a 9mm aluminum. And this is actually the yarn type that I use with my after-school students because it's a bit on the thicker side and it's not too difficult to see. So this is just me reading the instructions on how to make the center pull. And I saw that it said it needed a needle. So I've got one in my Baby Yoda mug. But in the end, I actually didn't need to use it. So I just put it to one side for then. And it's just wrapping the yarn. I mean, I probably didn't need directions for this, but sometimes you just want to be able to read it to have that confidence. So I wrapped the middle to give it that kind of bow shape, and then I tied it off. But before I tied it off, I wanted to make sure it fit perfectly, and I think that's going to look adorable.